Today, I'm going to be showing you a goal setting workshop that I recently took my team through. And the feedback I got from them was really positive, so I thought it would be something cool to share. The system that I'm sharing is really what allowed me to go from someone who had no direction and was doing things for the sake of doing them, to someone who was filled with purpose, fulfillment, and living the life I always wanted to live. So over the past year, I've invested over 50,000 euros in coaches, courses, masterminds, and besides all the tactics I learned to actually grow my business, the biggest takeaway for me is it all comes down to mindset, focus, and being able to set goals and achieve them. And how you can achieve anything you want if you're just clear about what you want, know exactly what you have to do to get there, and know what the focus needs to be on a daily basis to actually get you close to your goals. And on top of that, also know who you need to become to deserve the things you actually want in life. So that's exactly what we're going through today. Guys, the whole point of this workshop is for me just to explain to you like what I've learned along the years working in business and what has been working for me. So what I want to discuss with you today and what I want to show you is, again, I've been working with different coaches, going to different masterminds, working in business as well. And like over the years, we sort of fell off, things weren't working for us. And it was very frustrating because I couldn't understand like why I was motivated sometimes, why I could get my goals sorted. I never really had a process to it. And what I learned through my coaches and through sort of my mentors is how to actually set goals and get what you actually want. Okay, so the whole point of today is just to explain to you how we actually got there, what systems I do to actually help me get me closer to my goals, so that maybe you can take something from it and see how you can apply it to yourself. And at the end of the call, we'll be able to actually have a conversation about what you're doing at the moment. Just to start off where it all started, basically going off what we discussed there, is that when Mike and I started Bison, we never really set out the goals. Right? Me and Mike and I loved designing, he loved developing, and we never really said we want to make this amount of money or we want to become rich, or we just enjoyed doing the work. And then our goal, what we had set out, was we wanted to win an award on awards.com or CSS Design Awards. Like that's all we cared about. Right? It wasn't about making money, it wasn't about business, we just wanted to win awards, which is, when you think about it, it was quite silly because we're getting into business trying to win awards, not make money, so it didn't really make sense, but we were obsessed with it. Like all we wanted to do, even though we didn't like write it down saying we want to win awards, that's what we discussed with each other every day. That's what we focused on. Right? And we were going against companies who are winning awards, who had 30 agencies, different offices all around the world. But every morning, every time we met with each other, we'd just say, okay, I'm going to research on which companies are winning awards, design like websites like them, we'll look into the development and look into the animations, and we just got obsessed about it. Right? And after 2 years, we did it. We literally won the CSS Design Awards, we won Websites of the Days. And when we hit that, everything stopped for us. Right? Because without a mission, you may get to the top of the ladder and then realize it was leaning against the wrong building. Like we both lost interest and we couldn't figure out what was happening. Right? And it took us to recently understand why it happened. So once we won the awards, we realized, listen, we're in business here. We haven't set any goals for the company. We don't really have a mission for the company. Our mission was to win awards. And then we won the award and we realized, okay, now what? And without realizing this, it was more about our relationship together, and the work we were doing was just crumbling, because then we just said, okay, now I have to make work, now I have to make money. And all of the work we were doing sucked out the life of the reason why we started Bison in the first place. We did like 2 or 3 years just doing work, making money, but we never really stopped to understand what is the mission and the vision of Bison, like what do we want to do. Right? And then once we actually hit that goal of like, we want to win the award, then everything stopped. Right? So we almost considered closing down the business as we weren't happy doing the work anymore. But what I learned was one skill that changed everything for me, because at this point in time, we never really sat down to understand our mission, our vision, what our values are, what we wanted to achieve in life. So my back was against the wall, and I paid for a coach and a mastermind to help me understand what steps to take that I needed to take to actually take the business to the next level. And it came into these 4 main steps. Okay, the first step was understanding what I actually wanted for myself and for the company as well. Okay, the second step was creating a morning formula, which I'll explain to you exactly what that is. It's just a way to sort of manifest and to understand exactly what you want. And the third thing is understanding a one thing, right? Having a one thing, like one thing you're going to be focusing on every day that's going to get you close to your goal. And the fourth is focused. Like it's sort of like a system, because without doing these things, doing just one only, you don't really get the results you want to get. So for example, like focus. I used to work every single hour of the day, guys. I used to wake up at 4 in the morning, go to the office, trying to get work done, designing the websites, meeting clients, doing all of these things, right? But because the focus wasn't aligned with what I actually wanted or with a goal, I was busy, but I was busy doing nothing, really and truly. So the first thing I want to discuss with you is understanding what you actually want, okay? And the whole idea here is that we need to try to be really precise about this. And we need to be able to paint a clear picture of what you want, not just in work, in your education, or in your every single part of your life. Right? Because most people just live like I lived this myself. Like I was blowing in the wind. I started buying without thinking. I jumped on the next idea without thinking. I tried to build an affiliate site without thinking. I started doing all of these different things. Right? But I was never really clear. I'm like, okay, I never stopped to say, let me not think about work today. And let me not think about 100 things that are happening in my life. Let me just sit down and try to understand, what do I truly want with my life? Where do I want it to go? What's the amount of money I want to make? What's my connection with God I want to have? What's the connection I want to have with my family? Right? Because as you guys know, like we're being distracted and dragged into 100 different directions. Our phone rings every second, emails come in, a client speaks to us, family at home. And so it's very easy for us to get distracted about just living life as it comes. But where I saw the biggest change happen for me was I stopped for like a weekend or a week or a month, whatever it may be, took some time in my day to figure out, okay, what do I actually want? Like, why am I doing these things? Why am I building this company? Why? If I got all the things I wanted, what would that look like to me? Right? So what quote really helped me was, if you could have everything you ever wanted, what would that look like to you? Like how many times, like, think about, when is the last time you thought about this? When is the last time you stopped doing the things you're doing, took a step back and looked at your life from a higher level point of view and said, listen, if I got everything I wanted, the money I wanted, the relationships I wanted, the income I wanted, the career I wanted, the spiritual, what would that look like to me? Because I had never really sat down to understand what that was. So I was just living life thinking I was doing things I wanted to do, but really and truly, I was just stuck in the programming I was been given to me at birth, like the culture that was pushed onto me. I have to have this amount of money, I have to have this job, I have to start, but it never really aligned with who I am as a person. So understanding this is the first step that you could start maybe realizing, like, what do I actually want and why am I doing the things I'm doing? Because a lot of the times it could be, listen, I'm not even sure what I want, and that's fine. That's how I was in the beginning. Like, I don't even know what I want. But it all starts in understanding, if I could have what I wanted, what would that look like to me? Okay, so the first thing here would be, open up a document, right? Or take a sheet of paper, go somewhere quiet without any distractions. Just take some time alone. Turn off your phone and click on this worksheet I'm going to send you at the end of this video to fill this out. What it's basically going to do is help you understand why you're doing certain things. What do you want? What is your reason for doing it? Because what we want to try and do is not just attach it to a monetary goal. Like, I want to make 100,000 euros this year, or I want to make. What we want to try and understand is at the core of inside all of us. What's the motivation? And I want to try and tie that why, the reason we're doing things, down to something that's not just money. Right? You want to tie down your why into the reason for you doing the things. Like for me, it was, I want to be able to retire my parents. But what that comes down to is, once you start asking these questions to yourself, you thought it was. Like for me, it was, I want to retire my parents. Keep asking yourself why until you get to the core of it. Because you can start understanding that sometimes that why you have is even deeper than that. So the whole idea about this worksheet I'm going to be sending to you is just for you to help understand, listen, what do I want in life? Where do I want to go? What are the things I want to achieve? What are the relationships I want to have? And why am I doing this? Like, what is the reason behind all of these things? Okay, so I'm going to send you over this worksheet so you can fill it out. And once you do that, you're going to come to the second stage, which is the morning formula. And this completely changed my life. Guys, I'm telling you, this is the one thing that I can tell you. Like, for me, it was the turning point into where I feel I started to get more control. I started to feel more fulfilled. Because once you understand who you want to be and what you want and what your why is and what your reasons are, you can start figuring out, okay, who do I need to become? And who's the person I need to become to be able to deserve the things I want? Right? Because it's easy saying I want to make 100,000 a month, or I want to make 1 million, or I want to retire my, okay, but who do I need to become that deserves that type of thing? What are the skills I need to learn? Right? So what the morning formula will help you do is discover all of that. Because I used to be the guy that every week I had a new idea, a new plan, a new way to make money. I tried everything, drop shipping, e-commerce, crypto, you name it, I've tried it. Right? But what would happen to me here, because I wasn't really clear about it, was I'd try it, I'd get bored, I won't get the results I wanted to, and I'll just move on to the next shiny object. Right? And it's called like the lady in the red dress. Like you're always looking for the next thing. Because we're not really clear about exactly what we have to do to get to where we want to go. So I was never clear about my mission. I was never clear about my vision or my goals. So everything that came my way sounded like an amazing idea. Yes, I'm going to try that. I'm going to become rich from this. Or I'm going to do this. Everything just looked amazing because I really wasn't basing my decisions based on who I wanted to be and what I'm going to make my decisions on, which is like my visions and my values. And everything I tried to do, I lost money on and I was unhappy doing. So the whole idea here is, if you're lost with no direction, this is typically how my life would look. Like, imagine you as the ship, right? And there's waves and there's rocks and there's obstacles. And without having a goal, you're going to get attracted to every single one of these different things you want to do. You go, oh, I'm going to go into crypto. Oh, I'm going to go into e-commerce. Oh, I'm going to do drop shipping. Oh, I'm going to study this next thing. Right? But all of these things are just distractions. And the whole idea here is that what was happening to me was I was trying 100 different things. Like, think about a farmer who has like loads of plants. He's planting loads of seeds. And as soon as the seeds start like flourishing and becoming flowers, they move on to the next one. You forget about the thing you were building. It becomes a bit harder and it's taking a while to actually turn into a tree. Right? But at the same time, doing that, everything else is dying. You're not giving attention to the one thing you want to actually be developing, and you end up looking like something like this. And the whole idea about having a target and a goal for your life, not just monetary, like I'm saying, guys, it's not, the last thing I want to do is focus just about making money, because it's much bigger than that. Having a goal for your life and a target set out for your life will look something like this. Right? There are going to be the distractions on the right hand side and the left hand side, but you're going to be able to say, listen, no, my vision is here. The way I'm making my decisions are based on these values I've set for myself. This is where I want to end up in the next year, 2 years, 3 years. So you can start looking at these obstacles, but before ones were going to destroy you and just waste your time, into saying, no, listen, thanks for the opportunity, but I'm not doing that. That's not where I'm headed. This is who I need to be. This is what I need to do. These are the skills I need to learn. So it gives you a clear part of where you're going and gives you like a higher level view of everything. And it allows you to focus on one thing. Like, what's the one thing I need to be doing in order for me to get there? And it allows you to see long-term picture, not short-term gains of just trying to do 100 different things, focusing on what are the skills you need to learn, who I need to become to actually get what I actually want. Okay, so what you need to understand is like, what is your why? What's your motivation to doing all of this? Why do you want what you do? Money will take you so far, right? And is it providing for your family? Keep asking why to all the questions you've come up with. Okay, for you to understand what your true motivations and why you're coming up with these goals. Because sometimes you could realize the goal you think you want is not actually what you want. And what you want is right in front of you. Like, you might actually have what you actually wanted. Like, for me, it was, I want to be able to take care of my family and friends. Right? So I thought I had to become a millionaire to do that. So on the way of trying to become all these things and spending time at the office and I ended up like not spending time with my family. Not spending time with my girlfriend, not spending time with my mom and dad, because I was so focused on trying to make this million, which I thought was going to be able to provide my family and retire. When in actual fact, all I wanted was like love and connection with my family. So it's really important not to focus just on the money side and always focus on like, why are you doing this? Because a lot of the times, what you actually want is right in front of you. You have access to it. And you shouldn't get distracted about all of these things that culture, society makes us believe we actually want. So one thing I struggled with, and I realized afterwards, of like I just said, like spending so much time at the office and work, I'm like, okay, why am I doing this? And my excuse was I wanted to provide for my family. And then the truth, my family's here, literally around the corner. I could just go spend time with them, and I'd feel as fulfilled as I was doing all of the work. So understanding what your why is really important. Is it making a change in the world? Is it being able to help people? Is it being able to help your family? Whatever it may be, just understand what your why is will really help you get there. Right, and then I'm going to show you what I've created and what I've learned from one of my mentors, which is called the morning formula. And it's a way for you to understand who you need to become in order to achieve the goals you've set out. This is quite personal to me. I never really showed this to anyone, but I'm just going to show you guys for you to understand like what it would look like and how you could do this yourself if you think it works for you. Obviously, guys, I'm just showing you things that have worked for me. I don't expect you to say, listen, I'm going to do it. Like, I'm just showing you what worked for me to give you an idea of like, you could try this yourself. So the whole idea about this, right, is I wrote a description of my life as if I am the person already. Like, I'm none of these things right now. But I wrote about myself as if I am that actual person. So it's like, look, Sam Urpani is an exceptional leader, educator, coach, communicator, widely recognized as one of the leading coaches in the real estate industry, founder of Agent Leaders and Bison, and has transformed the lives of real estate agents worldwide, empowering them with the skills to elevate their business and potentially impact their own lives, families, and clients. Under Sam's leadership, in the first year of Agent Leaders, we managed to scale to over 100,000 a month in revenue. Sam managed to do this by taking action by assembling a sales team, implementing strategic YouTube and Facebook ads. Then this next second thing is, beyond his role as Agent Leader, Sam is a dedicated content creator, sharing his wealth of knowledge in YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, has 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. Guys, before I wrote this, I didn't even have a YouTube channel. I was scared to have conversations and to put myself out there. Before I wrote all of this, I was scared to speak in public. But once I wrote this out, I realized, who do I need to become? What are the things I need to be doing on a daily basis to actually be this person? Right? Because based on my goals I've set out, now I've written a biography about myself. Not about me right now, but who I want to become, who I want to be as a person. Right? Even about my family. I'm happily married, have 2 kids, right? Have a house in Malta and a house in Italy. I have to pay off my dad's. Like, all of these things are personalized to me and personally to me, and the things I want to be doing. But every morning when I wake up, I read this to myself. Right? I help realize, because it helps me understand and it helps me get back into why am I doing all the things I'm doing. So when it comes to like posting on YouTube, before I was scared. Now I'm not scared, because now I know if I want to impact all of these people's lives and change people's lives through my training program I've created and through my software, then this is what I need to do and this is who I need to become. So it starts taking away your fears that you've built up in your head to say, listen, am I gonna become the person I'm gonna become, or I'm not gonna start a YouTube channel because I'm scared about what my friends would think and what my family would say about the way I sound or the way I look on YouTube, or am I gonna do it because my goal is bigger than me? I'm trying to change people's lives with the work I'm doing and the software I'm creating. Right, so this gives you a perspective of like writing a small biography about yourself in, let's say, 5 to 10 years of who you want to become, as if you are that person already. The funny thing about all of this is like, a lot of these things I'm already achieving. Like I got the fancy watch I wanted to get, I got the nice house I wanted to get, but really and truly what I also want to mention is that when you get these things, it's not really fulfilling. Like, I attach so much of my happiness to like, okay, I'm going to become this person, I'm going to be happy. That's not the case, guys. The happiness is in doing the work. Like, the happiness you're seeking for is not in the goal you've set. Because once you get the goal, once you buy the watch, once you get the car, after a day, it's gone. You're going to be in the same feeling and the same state as if when you didn't have it. So you build up this whole thing of like, oh my God, I'm going to be so happy when I have this house and when I buy this watch and when I do this thing and I have 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. But that's not the whole idea here. The whole idea is the happiness you're looking for and the fulfillment you're looking for is in the mission you've set for yourself and is in the constant unfolding of the life you've designed, right? Of like living the actual life and learning the things. That's where the fulfillment and the enjoyment comes from. So that whenever you're making decisions, all of your decisions you make in life are based on the values you set for yourself. So that you can say, listen, no, this doesn't align with my values. I'm not going to take on this job. And also some principles, which is like some quotes I live by. So for example, for me, it was, every man has 2 lives. And the second starts when he realizes he only has one. Another one would be, extraordinary results are directly determined by how narrow you can make your focus. When you spread yourself out, you end up spreading yourself thin. Happiness in your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. What you most want will be found where you least want to look. Like, this is the one I live by mostly. I realize all of my biggest transformations in my career and in my life have been this, which is everything I've been putting aside in life, everything I've been scared to do, everything I put on the back burner, about myself, about my work, about my life, spirituality, everything you want most will be found where you least want to look. And then I have my perfect day. What a perfect day would look like in my life. I wake up, have my tea, read a book, having my morning ritual, get started on the most important tasks of the day, work out at midday, get back to the office, spend quality time with my family, go to jiu-jitsu, whatever it may be. But the whole idea here is that once I know who I want to become and what I have to do, the things I do in my day are now aligned with who I want to become and my goals and my vision and my values. So it really allowed me to actually see life in a different perspective, where now it's not just, let me wake up and do the tasks I have. Everything's there with a bit of purpose. So then the last thing is the one thing. Now, what I want you to help you understand here is the biggest takeaway for me was understanding what your one thing is. Okay, what is one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier? But the best thing to do is always to have a one thing for different parts of your life. What's the one thing for your religion? What's the one thing for your spirituality? What's your one thing for your relationship? Right? If you have a one thing for everything, what you can then understand is every day is, what is the one thing I can do right now that will get me closer to there? So everything we're doing in the moment is not just to do something, it's to get us closer to the bigger picture. Right? So for example, look at this. You want to be a head of development and manage a team. Now to manage a team, to be able to do all the tasks, so onboarding, support, dealing with clients, dealing with issues. Right? So, but what is the one thing right now for me to be able to become the head of development, right? For me to be the best front-end developer or the manager I could be. You need to be able to learn how to build SOPs and documentation, how to train a team and how to manage a team, how to understand all of the details, how to ask the right questions, learn how to delegate. Right? So what we start doing here is understanding, okay, today, what's the one thing I can do to get better at this? How can I learn how to delegate better? What are the skills I could be doing today for that specific task? Now it could be, I want to run a marathon for my health. Okay, what's the one thing I can do today that's going to get me closer? I can beat my time, or I can run this in this certain amount. Like, we need to make sure that we can measure these things so that every day we know exactly what we're doing to get us closer to the biggest picture we want to get. And like I said, this has to be done for all the different parts of your life. Understand where you want to go, and then we're going to break it down into separate steps on how we're going to get there. The daily task, the monthly task, the weekly task, the yearly task. Because it's a process. You're never going to be able to get directly to where you want to go. So we want to break that down into different steps. So the whole idea here is that productivity is driven by purpose and priority. I go by the thing of win the morning, win the day. Right? So I make sure I schedule my morning from 5 a.m. till 9 a.m. Like before the call we have together as a team, I've done all of the things I want, like the most important things. So for my business, I'm running ads and I'm getting leads. Then for my spirituality, I'm reading a book and I'm going for a walk and I'm meditating. Then I go to the gym. Right? So I'm literally doing everything I want to do in my day before the day actually starts. And what I try to do also is after our call, up until 12 o'clock, I don't take any calls. Because I want to focus my morning and all of my energy on the things that are going to make a difference. After 12, when my battery is a bit depleted, then I can jump on calls and meetings and get distracted and do the things that life requires of me. But I want to make sure all of my focus in the morning is done on the one things that I have to do. Okay? So then that's what I also do is have a warmap. This is funny. I think I learned from someone called Sam Ovens. And what the warmap is you plan your life in quarters. Right? So here for me it was, the first quarter was I had to run ads, then I had to hire an appointment setter, and then I had to hire a sales team in January for my other company. Okay? So these three things are the most important things to get me to my goal of 100,000 a month, for example, in my business. So then in January, I know exactly what I need to be doing. And then when I click on January here, I have the daily tasks I have to be doing. Now these are daily tasks of my have to do things. The one things that are going to get me closer to my goal. Not all the different daily meetings and team meetings and client meetings. No. What are the one things I have to do today to get me closer to my goal of what I want to get in my business? So this helps me plan out my life from business point of view, from a spirituality point of view, whatever it may be. But it helps you make a game plan of where you want to go and how you're going to get there. And what are the most important tasks. It gives you structure and purpose in your day. Okay, I'll give you more of a detailed explanation on this and how you can use it in a separate video or a separate call, but at the same time, I'm going to give you access to all of these resources so that you can start doing them yourself if you want to. So like once you're clear on your big goal, you can break down the goal into subtasks, prioritize the order of each task, and plan them with a warm-up on how we're going to actually get there, like creating your game plan. Okay, so what you understand here is that when what you do matches your purpose, your life just feels in rhythm, and the part you beat with your feet seems to match the sound of your head and your heart. Like, I said earlier, your battery, that missing thing we had, the missing thing I felt, that was having a purpose in the work I'm doing. And even if your purpose isn't exactly right, that's okay. Stick with it for a while, date it, see what happens. Because one thing I realized is, on the journey of actually fulfilling your goals and becoming this person, you transform as a person as well. Like the person I was 2 years ago when I set my goals is completely different than the person I am now. I thought my goals were having a nice watch and having a nice house. When I look back at it now, I can say I was so stupid. Like setting those goals was so lame, because that's not what's going to make me happy. But now I can say that now only because I set those goals before, I acquired skills, I became a different person, I transformed into a new person. Now I can see things more clearly, and now I can understand what I truly want. So things will change once you start achieving your goals, and that's fine. And that's the purpose of it. And I think that's the purpose of life for me. It's like constantly evolving and being better and seeing things from different perspectives. So like the way I like to look at it is like, when I first set my goals, I'm on level 1. And all I can see is, let's say, 100 meters in front of me. So I thought my goals were these things in front of me. But once I started achieving these goals, you level up. Like think of it as like a video game. I'm level 2, level 3, level 4. And like me at level 4 now, I can see so much more than what I could see before when I set my goals, because I've transformed and I've learned different things and I've become a different person, right? So now my goals I'm setting are not monetary. They're looking more about change and impact and like my fulfillment for me as a person. So it's okay when you set your goals in the beginning, because they're going to change as you grow up and as you learn different things and as you acquire different skills and you learn more about yourself. The plan of action here, like I want you to be able to actually, if you want to go into this, have a game plan of how you can do it. So the whole plan of action is take some time for yourself, schedule in your calendar. Listen, I'm going to focus on this day. I'm focusing on figuring out what my goals are, planning out my morning ritual, understanding what I want to do and who I want to become. And I'm going to give you access to some worksheets for you to do this if you want it to be. Like the things I use to help me get there. And the most important thing after you do that is focus. Because everyone is busy. But you need to ask yourself, what are you busy doing? Like I said before, this was me. I had a fucking million tabs open on Google. I had the Slack channel opened up on my right hand side, communicating with my team. I had my WhatsApp on the other side. I had my phone on, calls from my friends and WhatsApp chat from him, and my mom asking me for this, and it's impossible to focus. Like you guys know this more than anything. Like you guys are in development, and you know how important focus is in development, because like in project management and development, because once you're focused, you feel like you can get shit done. But the moment you start having all of these distractions, you feel like I'm going to jump on one project, then I'm going to jump on another project, then I'm going to help Sam with this, and then Mike told me about this problem about this client, and then you guys know how this works. Right? But the whole idea and the whole concept here is you feel like you did so much. I did all of these tasks. I managed to check all of these things off my checklist. You go home feeling like a boss. Like, right? Amazing, man. I did all of these tasks. The support tasks are all done. Property expos closed off. But really and truly, you need to ask yourself, I was busy doing figure eights, going around in circles, doing the same thing over and over again, not excelling, not learning new skills. Right? So it's really important to stop and understand, listen, why am I doing this and what am I actually doing? Again, like I said, have a success list. And the whole idea here is win the morning, win the day, which I explained. Deep focused work. Okay, now what I mean by this is if I show you my setup now, I used to have fucking 3 screens everywhere. This one opened up here, like I said. Now what I do is allocate time in your day for specific tasks. Okay, after the call we have together in the morning, right? It's 9:15. From 9:15 to 11 p.m. or 11 a.m., you do not disturb on your phone. You put on do not disturb on your laptop. You take off all notifications. Okay? I don't exist, Els doesn't exist, Mike doesn't exist. You have 1 hour or an hour and a half of pure focus. I have this, I use here. I set it to like an hour. Just a timer for a kitchen. I can play. Now, nothing else in this world exists to me besides this one task I'm going to focus on. And guys, you'll be blown away with the 1 hour I dedicate to that task would equate to a whole days of work, of jumping from project to project to project, to idea to idea to idea, to call to distraction. And I know it's hard sometimes, but the more you can focus on just focusing on one thing, not jumping from task to task, the more you can realize how much quieter, how much easier, how much more quality work you can actually do. Okay, so I need to want to push this in all of you. Like, we can communicate on Slack, but people can wait half an hour. People can wait an hour. You don't have to respond to every client as soon as they message. You don't have to respond to every email. You are in charge of your time, guys. And if you're going to let the world pull you in every direction, you're going to have no time to do anything. You're going to be pulled into, like, the work you do is going to be 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here. By the time you get back into the work you were doing, you forgot where you were, you waste 10 minutes. Then your phone rings and you got, you know what I mean? Like, that's how we live our lives. And that's how I live my life. But the moment I discovered this was like a superpower. 1 hour, I work. Check my phone, 5 minutes. Okay, what's my next task? Put in an hour and a half. I'm only going to do this. And see how this will change your life. If you have noise cancelling headphones that can help, go in a quiet room. I know we have distractions, we have kids, we have family. These things happen. But at the same time, the more focused work you can do, the better. And that's why I like to win the morning, win the day. Because I do my focused work before the day starts. Like, my deep work is done when everyone's still sleeping. The most important things for me are done in the morning. And then after 12, I can answer my clients. I can get back to them. I can speak to people. I can have a conversation. But right now, I'm focusing my effort and my time on this one thing. And then obviously, the things you're doing have to be aligned with your success list. Right? So that's pretty much what I wanted to show you today. Again, like I said, don't attach your happiness to your goals. Enjoy the process of doing. Don't get caught up into I have to achieve this, and don't try to force things, because the more you force things, the more attachment you have to things and the less happiness you're going to feel. So just open up your mind and say, listen, this is where I want to go. This is my purpose. I'm not bound by any time. I'm going to enjoy the process, and I'm just going to be focused on doing that. And that's pretty much it. What do you guys have any questions on all of that? I know I spoke for a long time, but let me know if you have what your thoughts are and what questions you have and how you feel about the whole thing. There's one quote that I had on that says, work harder on yourself than you work on your job.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, that's
if you keep doing your job, if you keep doing your job over and over again, you start doing the 9 to 5 job, okay, do that. But if you can say, okay, let me work 2 hours a day on developing new skills so I can do my job faster, I can do my job better, I can get the next job that I want. The whole idea of you guys being here, guys, is we don't want to trap you into a job you're not happy doing. So the idea of you being able to develop and get more skills, and for us to grow as a company as well and do the things we want to do collectively, is part and part you guys being able to develop your own skills as well and contribute for all of us doing it together. So I would really recommend that. Every day, just say to yourself, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Because it's going to allow you to do your job better, because you're getting more skills and learning more things. So that's a good point, Ranjan.